What's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and I have my predictions here for what I think teams will keep and trade away, potentially, their first-round picks in the 2022 NHL Draft. We'll be going over that today. So, here's what we're looking at. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play a little game. We're going to start off with the 22 teams that have been eliminated at the point of me making this video. The 22 teams in their order of where they're drafting, what we could see them do with their draft picks. Could they keep it? Are they trading it to move up? Are they going to definitely trade it? We're going to go over that. I have a little bit of a spectrum here. So I have the check, of course, meaning they will probably keep that pick. I don't think they're looking to trade that. I have the X, which means I think they will trade that pick. And there's also the circle. And the circle is more, they may be willing to trade it to move up, but they're not likely going to trade it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. So let me know what you guys think of that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with number 22, and that's the Los Angeles Kings. I don't see the Kings trading this pick. Yes, they have plenty of prospects. Yes, they have the guys there already. But I think you need to add some more prospect depth because now Quentin Byfield's coming into the league, right? What's his name? I want to say Alex Newhook, but I don't think that's his name. Let me see if I could find him. Yeah, see guys, this is what happens. This is why you have to do this. Let's take a look. I want to say Alex Turcotte. For some reason I get them confused. Quentin Byfield, Alex Turcotte. They've got guys there. Jared Anderson, Dolan is still fairly young. They don't necessarily need another prospect. But when you look at the blue line, they do have Brent Clark, and that's kind of it. So you could argue they could get another defenseman with that pick. And to be honest, what do they want to add with their team if they were to trade that pick? It would have to be a defenseman, I would assume. But for some reason, I don't see LA trading that pick, if I'm going to be honest. At 21 is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Dubas is keeping that pick. I don't think there's much debate there. At 20 is the Anaheim Ducks. I do think they will keep their pick. I think with where they're at, drafting at 20 with Boston's pick and 10 with their own, I just don't see a real spot for them to get in there. I just don't. I think the problem with Anaheim is you have to look at they would like to probably add some more depth guys. And with where they're at 10, unless you move up into the top 5, you're probably not going to see that big of a difference. And that's kind of giving away my 10 spot for them. So we're going to do both here. For Anaheim, I don't think they're trading either pick, either 10 or 20. For what it's worth, I think they're better off keeping both picks. At 19 is Washington. Washington is going to be weird this summer. I just made a video talking about them. Make sure to check that out. Washington, I don't think is going to trade this pick. I think they're going to want to keep it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they traded it for a top 6 center. I don't know who they'd get necessarily, but I could see them trading it. If Backstrom can't play next season, they have some guys that can't come back, or a top 4 defenseman, or a goalie. There's a couple different things. If Washington wants to improve and sees a cup window still next year, they could end up trading that pick. More likely than not, though, they will keep that draft pick, in my opinion. I think they will keep it, but that's one to keep an eye on. I think they're going to be kind of interesting with what they want to do. So there we go. We got that. Minnesota at 18, I think they're going to keep their pick. I think Minnesota's going to want to get a little younger. They do have Marco Rossi. They do have Matt Boldy, who are now coming into the league. They have Carson Lambos on the blue line. They've got Jesper Wallstedt, the goalie prospect. But I'd like to see them get more defensive, like defenseman prospects. because there isn't a ton in the pipeline behind Lambos and Addison, who has already played, so I don't really consider him a prospect. So I could see Minnesota keeping that pick. I think that would be a smart move for them. At 17, Nashville. I think Nashville's also going to keep their pick. They only have one pick in the first round. I could see Nashville being the weird team here with where they're picking that moves down maybe to say 30 or 31, and then they get a second round pick with that. I could see Nashville doing that, but other than that, I think Nashville keeps it. Buffalo, I think, will also keep their pick at 16. There's going to be some good players available at both their spots. I think they keep both their picks, so that gets Buffalo out of the way. I think Buffalo is going to keep their 9th pick and their 16th pick. There's not too many times that you're going to get two of the best players in the draft. Two players in the top 20 too often. I think they're going to be smart here and keep that pick and keep both of them. Vancouver, I could see Vancouver trading their 15th pick. I don't think it's likely, but I could see them doing it. If there's a spot where they can maybe trade up for Jersey's pick to take Logan Cooley, I could see that on the table, especially if they are considering trading guys like JT Miller or Bo Horvat down the middle. You're going to have a need for a top 6 center. I could see them trading that pick at number 15. At number 14 is the Winnipeg Jets. I think they will keep that pick. They traded some picks last year to acquire some defensemen. I do not see them doing that this year. I think they keep the pick at 14 and just kind of ride it out. At 13 is the New York Islanders. I am definitely thinking the Islanders will move that pick. Not to move up. I think the Islanders will move this pick in order to acquire a player that can play right now. The Islanders are in a cup window. Lou Lamoriello just fired Barry Trotz. The Islanders are looking to kind of add to this group, and he's kind of going to have to double down here, I think, at the NHL Draft. Trading that pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it either. A very Lou move. We saw in year 1 with the Islanders had in the Travis Hamonic trade with the Calgary Flames, they had the, I think, 15th and 16th overall pick, and Lou decided to keep both of them, and that worked out pretty well. Do you guys remember who the Islanders drafted? That's right, Oliver Wahlstrom and Noah Dobson in that draft, so that worked out pretty well for the Islanders. They could keep this 13th pick, but again, depending on who's there, I think they could end up trading that pick. At number 12, I have the Blue Jackets. I think, again, it depends on what the Jackets get at 6. Because they are going to want one of those defensemen, David Jiricek or Simon Nemec. If one of those guys is available at 6, they take the pick at 6. And then at 12, I think they will keep it. That way they get the center and defenseman. But if they take a center like, say, Matt Savoie at 6, you're probably going to see them trade that 12th pick, because you're probably getting a similar player, a Brad Lambert or Dania Yurov or one of those types of players. So I don't see them keeping both picks if they take a center at 6, but if they take a defenseman at 6, I do see them potentially keeping that pick. It depends. Again, that's one we're going to have to wait and see on, but I am definitely looking at that one for sure. At number 11, the Sharks, I think they keep their pick. Anaheim at 10, they keep their pick. Buffalo at 9, again, I think they keep their pick. At 8, Detroit, the only way I see Detroit and Steve Yzerman trading that pick is to move up. Steve Yzerman to take a defenseman. Now, he does have some defensemen already. He does have Moritz Seider. He does have Simon Edvinsson. So unless they're moving up to Jersey's pick at 2, I don't see them trading that pick. They're one of the few teams that would do that, but again, in terms of if they're going to trade for an impact player, we're hearing DeBrinket's name out there, Besser. Who would Detroit trade to New Jersey for that pick? I mean, you're not trading Larkin, right? I mean, I don't know who you trade there. It would have to be like a Tyler Bertuzzi. And again, when DeBrinket and Besser are out there, I think the Devils are going to go for those two guys. So more likely than not, Detroit will keep their pick at 8. At 7, the Ottawa Senators are definitely one of the teams to keep an eye on. I think the Ottawa Senators really would like to move that pick. Again, at that spot, you're looking at maybe a Matt Savoie, depending on what Columbus does in front of you. I mean, you'd love to take a defenseman, but more likely than not, you're looking at a Dania Yurov or a Cutter Gauthier or a Matthew Savoie. Those are the guys that will be available for the Ottawa Senators. And to be honest, if Matthew Savoie is not available there, I do see them trading this pick for sure. I think they want to add a guy like Kevin Fiala. You could trade that 7th pick for Fiala in some kind of package, So I think that's definitely on the table. That is definitely, at number 7, definitely a pick that I'm keeping an eye on. At number 6 is the Blue Jackets. Again, we mentioned this. Depending on what happens at 3, 4, and 5 is going to have a lot to say about what Columbus does. Because if Juracek and Nemec are off the board, I do think Columbus will probably keep this pick more likely than the 12. They take Matt Savoie, right, at 6, and then they might trade 12. If they might end up keeping both, but if I had to be a betting man choosing if they keep 12 or 6, I do think they keep 6 more likely than they keep 12. So that's the situation with Columbus. At number 5 is Philly. I see Philadelphia keeping their pick. They're gonna get They're gonna get somebody good. Whether that's Logan Cooley, God forbid he was still available. They might have Yurov Slavkovsky fall into their hands, depending on if Jersey, what Jersey and Arizona do. I think Seattle's destined to take a right shot defenseman, whether that's Nemec or a Juracek. So I think Seattle keeps their pick at 4. Arizona's going to keep their pick at 3. They are going to have the leftovers. So whoever, depending on if Jersey keeps their pick or not, they're going to take either Cooley or Slavkovsky, and I think that's a really good pick overall for the Coyotes. And then they're going to keep it. At 2, New Jersey. I don't think they're going to actually trade it, but with all the rumors out there that they could trade it, I have to say that they could trade this pick. But again, you're looking at a pretty good package. It's going to be DeBrincat or Besser. It's going to be a big name. So I don't see the Devils likely trading it. But again, on draft day, we know, especially recently, crazier things have happened. So I'm not going to say never, but I don't think it's necessarily likely either. So New Jersey, that's their spot. And then Montreal in their host city. I do not see them trading that pick. They really tanked this year to get that first overall pick, and they will be selecting Shane Wright in Montreal with all the Habs fans there. He's going to be a fan favorite right off the bat. He's going to have a lot of pressure on his plate, no doubt, but Shane Wright will be going first overall to the Montreal Canadiens, and they are not trading that pick for nothing. So there's my picks that I think will get traded. I think really there's 3. New Jersey at 2, Ottawa at 7, and 13 for the New York Islanders. I think realistically, those are the only 3 teams. You're going to hear a lot about other teams wanting to trade their pick. More likely than not, it's going to be, I think, those 3 teams. A lot of teams are going to keep their pick, as we normally see. And there is a couple teams that are wild cards that could trade for in order to trade up, say 5 or 6 spots. That is on the table as well. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.